to grow. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature to change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. I inherit the results of my actions of body, speech, and mind. My actions are my continuation.
May the day be well and the night be well. May the midday hour bring happiness too. In every minute and every second, may the day and night be well. By the blessing of the triple gem, may all things be protected and safe. May all beings born in each of the four ways live in a land of purity. May all in the three realms be born upon lotus thrones. May countless wandering souls realize the three virtuous positions of the Bodhisattva path. May all living beings with grace and ease fulfill the Bodhisattva stages. May the day be well and the night be well. May the midday hour bring happiness too. In every minute and every second, may the day and night be well. By the blessing of the triple gem, may all things be protected and safe. May all beings born in each of the four ways live in a land of purity. May all in the three realms be born upon lotus thrones. May countless wandering souls realize the three virtuous positions of the Bodhisattva path. May all living beings with grace and ease fulfill the Bodhisattva stages. The countenance of the world-honored one, like the full moon, or like the orb of the sun, shines with the
Blessed ones who dwell in the world, grant to us compassion in this and countless lives before, from beginningless time. Our mistakes have caused much suffering to ourselves and others. We have done wrong, encouraged others to do wrong, and given our consent to acts of killing, stealing, deceiving, sexual misconduct, and other harmful actions among the 10 unwholesome deeds. Whether our faults are known to others, or whether they are hidden, they have brought us to the realms of hell, hungry ghosts and animals, causing us to be born in places filled with pain and suffering. We have not yet had the chance to realize our full potential. Today we are determined with one pointed concentration to repent the obstacles of our past unwholesome actions. Blessed ones, be our witness, and look upon us with compassion. We surrender before you and make this aspiration. If at all within this very life and countless lives before, we have given, even if only a handful of food or simple garment, if we have ever spoken kindly, even if only a few words, if we have ever looked with eyes of compassion, even if only for a moment, if we have ever comforted or consoled, even if only once or twice, if we have ever listened carefully to wonderful teachings, even if only to one talk, if we have ever offered a meal to monks and nuns, even if only once, if we have ever saved a life, even if only that of an ant or a worm, if we have ever recited a sutra, even if only 1 or 2 lines, if we have ever been a monk or a nun, even if only for 1 life, if we have ever supported others on the path of practice, even if only 2 or 3 people, if we have ever observed the mindfulness trainings, even if imperfectly, all of this merit has slowly formed wholesome seeds within us. Today we gather them together like a fragrant flower garland, and with great respect we offer it to all awakened ones. A contribution to the fruit of the highest path. Opening our hearts wide to the perfect highest awakening, we are resolved to attain great understanding. We will realize compassion and embody deep love. We will practice diligently transforming our suffering and the suffering of all other species. Please transfer the merits of body, speech, and mind to the happiness of people and all other beings. Apart from bodhicitta, and apart from the thirst for great understanding and the embodiment of love, there is no other desire within us. All Buddhas in the 3 times and the 10 directions have offered their merit as we are doing today. Repenting all our faults, we joyfully contribute to the immeasurable ocean of merit and the towering peaks of the highest understanding. The Buddhas and the ancestral teachers are the light which shows us the way. In this solemn moment, with all my life's force I come back to myself and bow deeply with respect.
The Dharma body is bringing morning light in concentration. Our hearts are at peace. A half smile is born upon our lips. This is a new day. We vow to go through it in mindfulness. The Son of Wisdom has now risen. risen, shining in every direction. Noble Sangha, diligently bring our minds into meditation. Namo Shakyamunaye Buddhaya. Namo Shakyamunaye Buddhaya. Namo Shakyamunaye Buddhaya. Body, speech, and mind held in perfect oneness. I send my heart along with the sound of the bell. May the hearers awaken from forgetfulness, transcending anxiety and sorrow.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Palmita's Pa's Little Doves of Peace on this Saturday morning. I want to welcome you and invite you into a space of quiet and reflection. Reflection. I want to explain a couple of the technology things that are going on right now. We're recording, and we're only going to be recording the introduction and sharing that Brenda and I will be doing. Then we'll turn the camera off so that no one feels that they need to hold back because of the recording. The purpose of the recording is for those that can't be with us today. And I'll put it on our Palmita's site, which is only available to those of us that are members of Palmita's. Brenda's having a little microphone problem today, so she actually has her video going through a computer and her sound going through her phone. So it might be a little confusing why she's logged on twice and why sometimes you might not see her when she starts talking. It just has to do with us kind of band-aiding a technology solution. Nothing for you to be concerned about. As always, our Sangha comes together in celebration of three traditions. First is Unitarian Universalism through our mother church, the Palmar Unitarian Universalist Fellowship here in Vista, that gives us a physical space to meet and provides us with some foundational welcoming to everyone, that all are welcome to participate. Our Sangha started over 15 years ago as an outgrowth of the Palmar Unitarian Universalist Fellowship and has been meeting for 15 years. The second tradition we weave together is that of honoring the earth and those that protect the earth. And we do that by sharing a land acknowledgement, recognizing that we are held up by our ancestors and we are held up by the earth. And we share our respect to the protectors of the ancestors and the protectors of the earth. Through this land acknowledgement, each of the Sangha stewards might have a slightly different one, but here's mine. We are the land and the land is us. The land where we stand is stolen from the people of the Luiseño Nation and Kumeyaay Nation. And we realize to care for the land is actually to care for us. And we shall not forget that the land is not owned by anyone. The land's caretakers were violently thrown off and killed due to greed and lack of understanding. And we'll do all that we can with mindfulness and love in our hearts to water the seeds of interbeing as we embody practices that heal the land, that heal ourselves, and that honor the caretakers. And the third tradition that we weave together is that of engaged Buddhism is taught through the Plum Village tradition with our leader, the Honorable Thich Nhat Hanh. And it's through this lens that we examine the world and examine ourselves. And it's not an exclusionary view. It's one that just offers us a point of focus, a way of looking, a way of understanding, and a way of coming together and celebrating together. Today, we're going to be looking at, and it's kind of a continuation of a number of other Sangha gatherings on looking at our bodies and looking at the Dharma. Today, we're going to deal with one of the paradoxes, or apparent paradoxes of Buddhism, that of taking refuge in our own life and our own self. And at the same time, recognizing that there is no body, there is no self, that we are with everything. So what that's going to take us to is a point where sometimes our minds will not be able to get resolution because our mind's been programmed by our language. There's very specific pathways our brain develops based upon the language we use. So we're going to turn to our body for answers and see if we could find resolution within our body by practicing embodiment practices. We'll be listening to some words from a sutra, some words of Thich Nhat Hanh. But Brenda and I aren't going to give you the answer. There is no answer. Our practice is the answer. We just practice with this day and night, without hurry, without concern about finding the answer. Because Buddhism is an active religion, one that calls upon us to find the answers for ourselves, that there is no book of answers. I'd like to begin this morning with a few minutes of silence for the people of Ukraine, the people of Russia, and the people of the world. I think we're having a nearly universal trauma occurring right now. And as Buddhists, we could offer something to the world by simply sitting with it and not trying to change it, not trying to alter it, but just sitting with it and using our practice to help others. So I invite us just for a few minutes to get into a comfortable position. And if you feel tension in your body from maybe staying up too long watching CNN or MSNBC or Fox News or whatever source of news you use, just try to focus in that part of your body that's holding that tension for you. It's not to try to amplify the anxiety or amplify the concern or fear, but it's to recognize it, because it's through recognition that we can begin to heal it. So just recognize what's going on with yourself. And using the practice that we use, we breathe into it with awareness and mindfulness, and we breathe out. And I'll invite the bell after a few moments, and then we'll continue on. But let's just take a few moments in silence with mindfulness in our hearts to help heal this planet. Invite us to continue our practice of silence and of mindfulness as we simply arrive now to the present moment, to our fellowship in the Sangha, to being with each other. And we'll sit with this awareness as we arrive. As we breathe in, we know we're breathing in. And as we breathe out, we're aware that we're breathing out. In, out. Deep, slow. Just a moment, Brenda will be doing a reading from one of the sutras. And I'm saying this because I need to hear it. Maybe someone else will benefit from it. But when we listen to the sutras, I sometimes get lost in all the names, the polysyllabic names. And I think the gift of the sutra is just to kind of sit with the energy, not to get lost in the details, but just kind of sit with the main theme that comes through. Because for me, I could lose the forest from the trees if I'm just so tuned into trying to pronounce this person's name or trying to remember who they were, or if I'm trying to remember where the talk was given. Or couldn't invite us, as Brenda begins in just a moment, to just sit with the words and allow the words that you need to settle in and those that you don't need to just pass over you. So again, with technology, Brenda has to read something, talk in her phone, and also have the camera on a different device. So let's send her some blessings as she handles all this technology. When you're ready, Brenda.
Discourse on taking refuge in oneself. I heard these words of the Buddha one time when the Lord was staying in the mango grove in the cool shade of the mango trees along the bank of the river Bhadra in the land of Magadha. The elders Shariputra and Maudgalyayana had recently passed away. It was the full moon day of the Upasaka ceremony, and the precepts were recited. The Buddha spread out his sitting mat and sat facing the community. After looking out at those gathered, he said, "As I look at our community, I see a large space left by the venerables Shariputra and Maudgalyayana, who have passed into nirvana. In our Sangha, these venerables were the monks who were the most eloquent in giving Dharma talks, encouraging and instructing all the other monks, nuns, and lay people. O monks, people seek two kinds of riches: material riches and the riches of the Dharma. In their search for material riches, they can go to worldly people. In their search for the riches of the Dharma, they could always go to the venerables Shariputra and Maudgalyayana. The Tathagata is someone who is not searching for anything, whether it is material or the Dharma. O monks, do not be sad or anxious because Shariputra and Maudgalyayana have passed into nirvana. On large trees filled with leaves, sumptuous fruits, and flowers, the largest branches also have to break. On jeweled mountains, the highest peaks also have to erode. In the Sangha of the Tathagata, the venerables Shariputra and Maudgalyayana were the greatest students. So it is natural that these venerables would enter nirvana before you. Do not give rise to feelings of sorrow or anguish. All phenomena that are born, exist, and are subject to the influence of other phenomena, in other words, all phenomena that are composite, must abide by the law of impermanence and eventually cease to exist. They cannot exist eternally without someday being destroyed. I have reminded you many times that everything we cherish and hold dear today, we will have to let go of and be separated from. In not too long a time, I will also pass away. Therefore, I urge you to practice being an island unto yourself, knowing how to take refuge in yourself and not taking refuge in anyone or anything else. Practice taking refuge in the island of the Dharma. Know how to take refuge in the Dharma and do not take refuge in any other island or person. This means to practice dwelling in the contemplation of the body in the body, using the exercises diligently to nourish right understanding and right mindfulness, to master and transform craving and anxiety that belong to the world. Contemplate the body outside the body, using the exercises diligently to nourish right understanding and right mindfulness, to master and transform craving and anxiety that belong to the world. This is what is meant by returning to the island of oneself in order to take refuge in the island of oneself. Returning to the island of the right Dharma in order to take refuge in the island of the right Dharma, and not taking refuge in any other island or any other thing. When the bhikshus heard the Buddha offer this teaching, they were all very happy to put it into practice.
Thank you, Brenda. So allowing those words to just kind of flow through us for a moment, without using our mind to try to understand that the Buddha invited us to take a look at our body from within the body, take a look at the body from outside of the body. So I'd like to share a poem that at first may sound at odds with what was just shared. But this is from Thich Nhat Hanh's book of poetry called Call Me by My True Names. And this poem is called Interrelationship. It was written in 1989 during a retreat for psychotherapists held in Colorado. And Ty wrote it in response to Fritz Perls, and some of you may not know who Fritz Perls is, but he was kind of one of the founding fathers of modern psychotherapy, founder of Gestalt therapy. And Perls was famous for saying, "You are you and I am me, and if by chance we meet, that's wonderful, and if not, it couldn't be helped." And I think in a very simplistic way, excuse the judgment, in one way of looking at what Brenda just shared, we could think Fritz Perls was right on with it. You know, I am me and you are you. And I'm going to take refuge in myself. But here's what Ty wrote in his poem, Interrelationship. You are me and I am you. Isn't it obvious that we inter-are? You cultivate the flower in yourself so that I will be beautiful. I transform the garbage in myself so that you will not have to suffer. I support you and you support me. I am in this world to offer you peace, and you are in this world to bring me joy. So I struggle a little bit with that, because we just heard the Buddha teach us that we really have to take refuge in ourselves and nothing else, no one else. You know, don't seek the Buddha walking down the street. And I know we've talked about in Sangha before, there was a book that came out in the 60s or 70s called If You Meet the Buddha on the Road, Kill Him. Meaning that any Buddha we see outside of ourselves is false. And we must not make the Buddha outside of ourselves, but within ourselves. So there is this apparent discord. Be an island unto yourself. I heal my garbage so I won't hurt you. You practice so that I will be happy. So let's do a brief little guided meditation, focusing on our bodies. I'm going to invite you to get into a comfortable position. And really pay attention to your body. Now, when I say pay attention, it doesn't mean think about your body. As the Buddha said, see your body from within your body. So don't associate words with the sensations you're feeling. Don't judge, this is why I'm tense. This is why there's this tight spot. Just be aware of the sensations of your body. Begin by being grateful for our body. Just grateful for what it gives us, what it offers us, what it is, without judgment, without comparison. It's an amazing piece of creation. Because when we think about our body, it's not just our body, it's all the bacteria that live within it, inside of our gut. It's all the chemicals that are flowing through it, providing energy, providing necessary chemicals to allow our body to do what it does. And even going back to our breath, as we were taught, we're constantly bringing in new molecules, new bacteria, new viruses. It's one of the teachings of this time of COVID. We're constantly bringing in other beings that are becoming part of us for a while. And then as we breathe out, we're releasing molecules. We're releasing bacteria and other flora and fauna with each breath. So that when we talk about that we're something new every moment, we recognize it. Our body can teach us that. Just pay attention to your body. And as was hinted at, we've become aware that our body is not just the thing we call our body, but our body is constantly in communication with the environment through breath, through ingestion, the things we bring in, the things we release from our body that we no longer need. We're constantly changing. Although we live with this fantasy that we grow up, we get old, and we die. And every day it's the same body, but the scientists and physicians in our group will tell you that we're constantly changing. We're turning over cells all the time. We're sloughing off skin cells. So just pay attention to your body. And you might find it helpful to just imagine your body like a river. Not the whole river, but just imagine this small section of river that we'll call our body. Because each moment, this small section of the river is changing. There's new water coming in, there's water going out. The bank is eroding. Sand is being deposited. Fish are flowing through it. Plants are growing in it. See if you could just experience your body like a river. Be like a river without hanging on to the water, damming it up, needing to hoard it all, nor damming it up the river above you so that the new water can't flow in. Try not to hold anything back. And just allow your body in all its glory to reveal itself to you, constantly changing. And let your body be the teacher for you to look at your mind in the same way. Thoughts arise, they flow through, and then they're gone. Yet we think we're one mind. But the world affects our mind every moment. Images on TV, music we listen to, the giggle of a child, stroking our pets. All this brings new and releases old from our mind. Now look at the deep mystery of your emotions. So often I hear people say, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm happy. But in a moment, that's gone. And there's new emotions there, just like water flowing through a river. Our bodies are our teachers about this. That if we hold on too tightly, we stop growing. And when we stop growing, we die. So now look at that concept of be an island unto yourself. At the same time, recognizing you're impermanent, you're constantly changing. And see if your body has some response to that, has a response to, I need to be an island unto myself, and I'm constantly changing. I'm constantly different. I'm ephemeral. If I try to grab at me, it's already gone. The act of grabbing changes me. Let your body find your answer for today. It need not be the answer for you for the rest of your life, but today's answer of impermanence and refuge of self. I'm going to invite you to take a moment or two, and if you want to record some words, write down some words, or if there was an image or a sensation in your body, you may want to record that. I'm going to stop the recording now.